Hello again. We're back on chapter 9. And a quick reminder, make sure that you're watching the homework video as well. It'll help you walk through each of the exercises. I do at least one in each exercise so that you can see how to do things. And this section is usually the one that throws people off just a little. So I'm going to start on page 303. And we know that sizing up categorical syllogisms, 3-variable Venns. So that'll be interesting. So an argument with 3 categorical statements. Okay, syllogism just means we have 3 statements in our argument. Okay, and we've been doing these since chapter 3. And he shows us here about chapter 3. Okay, so we did this kind of diagramming for our little arguments. Great. Okay, so can we check validity with that, diagram of 1 plus 2 down to 3? Not really. We can show the structure, but it doesn't really help us there. And so we have a couple of things to think about. And he does ask us to do this a couple of times as far as label things this way and do things this way. It's okay. It's quite all right. So we're going to work on that. So I have a syllogism here. Some domestic pets are cats. Some carnivores are not domestic pets. So some cats are carnivores. Now, these are all particulars. So we're going to look at I's and O's. And that's why I left them up there so we could kind of figure things out. I want to look at this first and show you a couple things, and then we'll do one more of the other kind. But when we're looking at this, at the bottom, very bottom of page 303, he tells us that we have 3 sentences, 2 premises and a conclusion, and so we have 3 terms. Okay, they show up only twice in the whole thing, and unlike truth tables where we start at the very beginning of the argument and label things, P and Q and R kind of stuff, we're going to start always with the conclusion. Okay, and so most of the time he's nice to us and he gives them our questions and homework and such. He gives them to us premise, conclusion, but not always. So be careful. Don't forget about your indicator words. I think that was back on like page 13. So think about those as well. So this one, easy peasy, because, I kind of wrote it. So we're going to start here with our conclusion, and we're going to say, okay, our first term is our P, and our second term is our Q. Okay, I'm just going to use the same color over there. Okay, so this is our Q, not Q. I'm sorry. I started talking about truth tables. Back that up, try again. Okay, so our first term is always our subject term. Our second term is always our predicate term. Okay, and then like we did with truth tables, we're going to go through our other 2, our premises, and any place we have cats, we're going to say is an S. Okay, so we should only have one other one of that. Okay, it's up there. P is for carnivores, so it goes here. And the term that we don't have in our conclusion is called the middle term, and lo and behold, it's an M. Okay, so domestic pets is our M. Now, we also have kind of other delineations here. So a major premise has the major term, which is the P. Okay, not sure why that works that way, but it is. Okay, so this is our major premise. So this one then is our minor premise, and then this is our conclusion, therefore, okay? The one that has the P in it is our major premise, okay? Some carnivores are not domestic pets, okay? That's our major premise in this case. And I really don't think it matters a whole lot, although, these are the things that we have to remember for the way he's going to talk about things. Logically, the order doesn't matter, but we're just labeling them so we know what we're doing here, okay? So M is the middle term, P for the major term, S for the minor term. So it looks like that, okay? And it looks like this. So we draw our 2 circles like normal, our S and P, okay? And then we have to add the M. So we're going to make it on top, but we want to make sure that we catch all three of these rooms here with our M. My M's usually look a little oblong because that's just how I am. So that's how you draw your three variable Venn diagram. And it should always look like this when you start out. Always, 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 okay? So I'm going to, well, I have to do my little thing first. Can you guys, I think you can see if I put it over here, just for a minute. So my translation, okay? So actually I'm gonna do this up here, so I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. I thought I gave myself enough room. Then I got big with my writing because I forgot why I gave myself room. Okay, I'm just doing this for me. So my translation, some M are S, some P, sorry, are not M, and then here, some S are P. Okay, now, one of the most important things to remember when you're diagramming these three variable Venn diagrams is that we only ever plot the premises and then we'd have a look, and I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so some M are S. Some M are S. So I'm going to be looking at just the M and the S. I'm going to pretend like my P isn't there, okay? Because I'm only looking at relationships between two variables. Sounds familiar? Just like we did with truth tables, two at a time, okay? So some M are S. I'm going to say some M are S is that I statement there, right? So I need to put an X in this eyeball part here. So where do I put it? Well, because I'm not sure where that cat is standing, I'm going to put it right here on this cross line, so that it could be in either side. It could be right there, whatever works. Okay, so that's S. I like to use a different color for these because that's me visual. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Okay, so then I have some P are not M. Okay, so I'm just looking at the M and the P. I'm going to forget about the S down here. So some P are not. So that's the O statement. Some P are not M. So I'm going to have to put my X somewhere in this P statement that's not in the eyeball section there. So again, I'm not sure where to put it, so I'm going to put it on that little line. Okay. Now, here's the thing. We only ever diagram, plot, however you want to say it, we only draw the major and minor premise. We never plot the conclusion on the Venn diagram because that's totally counterproductive. What we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, so I've done my two premises. My conclusion is some S are P. So I'm looking at an I statement here. Can I say, from what's drawn here, definitively that some S are P? Well, not really. Now, if I forget about I don't know where this goes, and so I'm going to hedge my bets. If I put my X somewhere specific, then I have to use where I put my X. Okay? Sounds like a country song. So some SRP should look like this. Can I say that definitively? No, I can't. Probably does not work for deductive arguments. Remember, that's an inductive. We're not there yet. Okay? So this one, by what I've drawn, is invalid. And I usually do this because that means by what I've drawn. Okay? So if I had, instead of putting this guy on the line, I put him over here. Perfectly legit, right? I'm still invalid. If I had put my X for not domestic in there, then yes, I could be valid. Okay, but you have to look at what you've drawn and go with that. Okay, in this case, we're going to say this is invalid. Okay, because we could not say that from where I put it. Okay, and this is the thing. When we do a Venn diagram and it's inconclusive, okay, we're going to use that word a bit later on too. If it's inconclusive, then we have to say it's invalid, okay, because it's possible that it wouldn't work. Now, just because it could work or it does work by what you've drawn, that's fine, okay? But if it's inconclusive, we have to say invalid. Only if we can say this definitively, say the conclusion definitively, do we have a valid argument. Okay, so that's kind of how those things work. Now, he goes through a couple more examples, and I wish he had never done putting the words outside the bubbles, because I don't want you to do that. Okay, I want you to always translate and then plot. Okay, so the fact that he has warmongers, egomaniacs, and dictators in this first guy, SPM, move on. Okay, same thing with professors and drudges and robots. Okay, and then on page 307, he gives us the 5 steps for checking validity with Venn diagrams. Draw the 3 overlapping circles, 2 circles, one for the major term, one for the minor term on the bottom, and then the M on top, okay? And then he shows you the pieces in there, okay? It's really not difficult. It is a little bit on the tedious side, not as tedious as 3 variable truth tables, but a little on the tedious side, and you have to pay attention to what kind of statement you have, okay? That's why I want you to translate first and then plot them on your diagram, because if you just plot them, you're going to end up with some mistakes. You need to translate first so you know which 4 of these it looks like, okay? So we do, oh, I shouldn't have done that E. I'll make it go back. It's okay. I want to do one more thing and show you this other ta-da that he does. Sorry, he's an E. He reads too many. Okay, so if I have an all P or M, no S, sorry, no M or S, so no S or P. Okay, that's my new argument. Okay, I'm going to look at these, so I'm going to draw my little S's. And again, as long as you get all 3 rooms there, you're good. Okay, even if it looks a little wonky, like this one. Okay, so my translated argument has a universal. Actually, it has 2 universals, 3 universals. Oh. So we're going to plot the universals first, and then if we have one, we plot the particulars second. Mainly because you can't put an X in a spot that's been vacated. Okay, so if I have all P are M, I'm looking at that up there, okay, my A statement, but I'm doing P and M, so I'm doing this way. So my all, okay, that's what that looks like. See, it crosses here into that part of the eyeball, but it leaves that top little triangle open, okay? And then no MRS. Okay, so no MRS is going to look like this, except that it's got to be this. It's that eyeball section. Okay, so then I have no SRP. Can I say no SRP from this diagram? Well, yes, I can. Okay, because no SRP is here. It's an E statement. So the whole eyeball section between S and P has to be empty, and it is. Okay, so this is valid. Okay, now remember, just like with the truth tables, you have to tell me valid or invalid. Same thing here, valid or invalid. And on the test, that's 2 points, which isn't a lot, but 2 points is 2 points, okay? So valid. When you're doing something, let me do one more little guy here. I'm going to leave my all P or M and go some M or S. So some S are not P. Let's see how that turns out. Okay. Again, I'm going to draw my 3 variables. And then I'm going to put the M up there, make sure I have all my rooms connected. Okay, so I'm good. So all P or M, which we did last time, is an A statement up there. We need to, even if these were flipped, always plot your universal first and then the other. So we're going to do that. A goes like this. Okay. Now, some M are S. Some M are S. Let's see. Some M are S. So I have to put an X somewhere in this eyeball section. Well, I don't know where exactly to put it, so I'm going to put it there because I don't know where it is, really. And can I look at this? Some S are not P. Some S are not P would look like that. So can I say that from here? No, because I'm not sure where my X is, and so it's inconclusive, so it's invalid. Okay? Not too horrible. Okay, this is, then we do exercises 9.6, 9.7, and 9.8. Page 308, 309, 310, turn the page, didn't turn the page. Or, you know, scroll the page, whatever. Again, there is a homework video. I walked through at least 2 more of these guys. Keep in mind that sometimes we get an argument that is not in the right order. And so we need to make sure that when we're doing our translation that we end up with everything in the right spot, okay? Look back at those indicator words from chapter 1, I think. And so we have, there are a few places in our homework where we have indicator words, and so the actual argument is out of order and that the conclusion isn't last. So make sure you fix those so they look right. Always start with the conclusion. Never map the conclusion, only the premises, and then see if you can say that conclusion definitively by what's here. And if it's not, it's invalid. Okay? Not too horrible. Practice. And let me know if you have questions. You know how to get a hold of me. You have my email.